You're listening to this week's episode of the Vacation Rental Business in Today's World podcast. You're about to start transforming your business and life with the information found here. We interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in the vacation short-term rental industry and supporting businesses. The information found here is a combination of brain science, transformational thinking, safety and loss prevention, and vacation short-term rental knowledge and experiences, all rolled into one to help you and your business to achieve levels you never thought possible. I am glad you are here, and now please welcome your host, Eric Thibodeaux.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Safer VRs. I'm Eric Thibodeaux, and I'm your host, and I'm happy you're here. Today, I want to talk a little bit about this part about safety that makes Safer VRs different. And what that really is in a nutshell is you've heard me mention a little bit about the neuroscience and things that I've been studying. And I've also run across a book by Dr. Christian Sylvester that I've been reading. And I think it's time to talk a little bit more about how neuroscience actually plays a part in how we're managing safety and loss prevention in everything. But we're really going to talk about from vacation rental and short-term rental standpoint. So what exactly is this real difference? And as we go into, I won't go into all the neuroscience and everything. We'll kind of ease in to bits and pieces here in the next couple of episodes. And what I'm really wanting to talk about here is, who are you at your identity level? What is the identity level? Your identity is who you are. For example, I'm a father. I'm an engineer. I'm a son. I'm a husband. I am a safety professional. I'm a vacation rental owner. I'm a property manager. I could go on with all these things that make up who I am and what my identity is. But I also have to recognize that there are things that I am not. They're not in my identity. And for example, I'm not a smoker. You're not going to find me smoking. I'm not a great swimmer. You won't find me out there in the ocean swimming or doing lots of laps. I am not a runner. I used to be a runner, ran when I was younger, but today I'm not a runner. And why it's important to understand what is in your identity is because you can never outperform your identity. You could change your identity, okay? Your identity is formed over patterns, subconscious beliefs, and we'll call them patterns, that drive and define who we are. And a lot of these are established, as we've talked about in the past, is when we're really younger. And for example, when I was 16 years old, I joined our local fire department. And when you join a fire department, whether you're 16 or 30 or whatever, you're going to get training. And so we did a lot of training. I did a lot of training, a lot of studying. I had to become a firefighter one eventually. I learned how to operate the trucks and the equipment. And so over time, the various skills and patterns about how to respond, how to do various activities was built into my subconscious. I developed a pattern. Just like if I said, someone said, hey, Eric, get on a bike and ride. More than likely, I've ridden a bike before and I will jump on the bike, start pedaling and take off. And I can do it within seconds. Matter of fact, when the request is made, my brain is already, before I've even responded back yes to you, and this is proven through neuroscience, is that 6 to 7 seconds before I execute or provide a response to you, my brain's already taking the action for me to do the task. Let's say ride a bike in this case, or it could be to respond to a fire call. So all these patterns are developed. And these are good patterns because what happens, let's say if I had to stop and think about how to ride a bike or how to charge a fire extinguisher or charge a fire hose or what's the response protocol. If I had to use my prefrontal cortex in the kind of up here in the front of the brain, it's used as thinking. So we think, you get asked a question and you may have to think about the response, and that's okay. However, it's slow. It's slower than the patterns in your subconscious mind. Because what's happened is your brain in the past has identified certain activities and tasks that says, hey, Eric wants to do this and it's important. So I'm going to store that pattern so that when he has to perform that task or answer that question or do that activity, boom, I'm going into the mode to get it done. So I don't have to use my prefrontal cortex because it's slow. If I had to stop and think, okay, how do I ride a bike again? How do I do that? No, we don't do that. Our brain, if we've ridden a bike many times, it programs it, builds a pattern, it conserves energy for us. And one of the things the brain likes to do is to protect us. This is what it does. It protects us. And so why is all this coming up to talk about? It talks a little bit about how our patterns are developed, how those patterns create our identity, and how those identities drive who we are. And remember my comment, you can never outperform who you are. So I'm not a swimmer. I'm never going to be a great swimmer right now. I could be. I could train. I could develop patterns. I could build my body to swim. But at this moment, I am not a swimmer. I'm not a smoker. I'm not just going to go out there and start smoking. I'm not going to perform that. I can't do it today. I could take my prefrontal cortex and start thinking about it. However, it's just not in my identity of who I am to do this. So now we have this establishment about, we have an identity that's formed by our subconscious patterns and beliefs, things that we hold on to. And as I mentioned, we could change those over time, but it really takes a good bit of effort and time to reprogram the neuroplasticity in our brain. We could do it. However, that's the good news. However, over the last few weeks, I was at the DARM conference. I had the opportunity to speak to a lot of great property managers, property owners, and I found a wide variety of discussion about when we talked about safety. And I super appreciate some of the honesty and the feedback that I received. Really, it was my first conference as Safer VRs, and I was really pleased with the feedback about when we spoke about safety and what does safety mean to you and how do you operate safety and loss prevention in your property management business or in your vacation rental, your short-term rental. And I found this wide range of responses. A good bit of those were even to the real extreme. I've never thought about safety in my vacation rental. We don't do things. And I also heard some of this here, and this is one of the other things. Remember, I said your brain likes to protect you. And the way it does that, when I ask that question and say, hey, Tim, tell me about how your business is managing safety and loss prevention. Maybe you'll hear like, I don't know. Well, we have some processes. And so what's happening there, more than likely, your brain is protecting you, and it's developed this reflex about, hey, you know what? This is not in my identity. This is not a pattern that I'm used to discussing. So my prefrontal cortex is trying to answer the questions, and I can't really just answer them quick. So I'm thinking, and I'm providing these I don't knows or some response there. So I could detect it during our conversations, and that's okay. That's really okay because that's real. That's how it is. So a wide variety of discussions around safety and loss prevention. I found really no one who had incorporated safety and loss prevention just like, hey, we're going to do this in our business. Most of the time, this was prompted by some event, a safety event, a loss, a fatality, an incident, a fire, a vehicle accident. We could fill in the blank. And it became a defining moment that said, hey, I need to change who I am. I need to change my identity. I need to take on, and we'll call it being, I need to be safe. Talk about safety. We always talk about doing, like drive safe, wear your seatbelt, know how to use the fire extinguisher, check the smoke alarms. All those things are doing, but are you really being safe? And being is an internal thing. All the things I just mentioned about what we talk about in safety are these external things that are out there in our environment. And it's really not how we drive safety. Safety is being safe. It's in my core. It's in my identity to be safe. Now that takes time. It's a pattern that has to be developed. And it could very well be where there is a trigger. And that's what my information and discussions found is there's these triggers, which were events. And most of the time, these were negative events that caused vacation rental property owners and managers, small and large businesses, to take a serious loss, to have to deal with a settlement, or maybe just, oh my gosh, what's going to happen here? We had this fatality here. It triggered this mindset that said, hey, these are my words, I'm not being safe. Your words may be different. However, then you go through this time and actually to change your identity, to change your behavior, your beliefs, because everything starts with a thought that goes to some type of emotion that then changes you have a belief. So if in the past you didn't really acknowledge safety or it wasn't in your identity, your thought was, that's common sense. We do okay at that. We don't have any injuries or incidents. We check our smoke alarms sometimes. All these things come up. You have a thought that goes to an emotion that becomes a belief. So the thought with emotion over time becomes a belief. And what is that belief? Most of us have this belief in our industry that safety, we're doing okay in safety because we haven't had a problem or we haven't fully acknowledged it. So those beliefs, whatever they are, they could be good beliefs, then drive our decisions, that drive our actions, that deliver the results. And here's the funny thing is sometimes we don't do anything and we get the result because something didn't happen that would cause a problem. And that's okay. However, if we back up and say, I want to create an identity that I am being safe, which to do that over time takes about 67 days. Once you establish how you are being safe, all the doing now flows easily. If I'm being safe at my core, because now it's in my identity, it's who I am. When Eric asked me the question, tell me how I'm being safe, I immediately provide the response. It's in my processes. It's in my procedures. It's in how I train my housekeeping and my team and how we do driving safety and how we look at smoke alarms. All the doing originates from the being. And here's the news, everyone in the vacation rental industry. We are not being safe because for most of us, it's not in our identity. And this is really this missing piece. We could want to have this desire to do safety inspections, to do anything safety related, even anything in our business. But we're focused on safety and loss prevention today. If we're not really being, if it's not in our identity, then we're not going to execute flawlessly every time. I'm not a smoker. I'm not smoking. It won't happen. It's in my identity. I am a safety professional. I am a safe vacation rental property manager. It's what happens. It's who I am. It's who I'm being, and the doing flows. And once the doing flows, I have what I desire. I have safer business. I have what I need, whatever it is. Now, it doesn't mean that things come up in our life, in our businesses, that were not expected. It could happen. It does happen. And let me tell you, if you don't think it's going to happen, it will happen because that's how it is. We interact with a lot of guests. Maybe guests aren't wanting to be safe. Maybe they were like you before, where you didn't consider being safe as important as you do now, as you've worked to incorporate it into your identity. So now we have guests and we have owners, maybe. We have business partners. We need to work to get them there. But first, I have to establish who I'm being, what's my identity. Everyone, I can teach you everything there is to know about how to do hazard inspections and how to check smoke alarms and where to put them and how to do all this doing. Just name it. How to talk about how to do energy isolation, how to have a safe driving program. While most of that does not exist in our industry, what's even further lacking about why it doesn't exist is because we don't have it in our identity. We're not being safe. So with that said, I really want to impress upon everyone in the vacation rental industry, this is what the missing piece is that I've been working on for the last couple of years to help deliver here. I've recognized, because of my 32 years of safety experience as a professional safety engineer and manager, fire protection engineer, firefighter, you name it, that this was something that I couldn't quite put my finger on it until here, probably the last, I'd say 6 or 7 weeks. And everything was validated. Almost everything was validated for me when I began talking to property managers, property management CEOs, different businesses. This is it. This is the piece that we need. And here's the good news. I can teach you all the doing, and I can help you be safe. I can help you with your identity and who you want to be. Only if you want it. I can't push it upon you. I can't change you, right? Only you can change you. As you've heard me say in previous podcasts, everything starts with awareness. And here's the big awareness for our industry. We do not have safety and loss prevention in our identity. So let's work on changing that and being safe. Safer VRs was created for this very purpose, to serve, for me to serve you in the vacation rental industry. That's why I became a safety professional, is to help and serve. And now my focus is shifting towards you, the vacation rental industry, the short-term rental industry, to help you with this. So if you're interested in learning more, go to safervrs.com. We're still growing our membership with our founding member launch. I really appreciate those property managers and business owners who are coming on board. I believe you're the leaders in this industry and helping to support and move this forward so that we can develop this information, get it out there, look at what kind of identity and who we want to be and how we want to be safe. So www.safervrs.com. You can send me an email at eric@safervrs.com. You can go and join my Facebook group, Safer Vacation Rentals. You can hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm an easy person to get in touch with, and I look forward to hearing from you. And I would like you to create a safe day. Thanks so much for listening. Take care. God bless.
Thank you for listening to Safer VR's podcast with Eric Thibodeaux. If you enjoy this, I would love you to join my Facebook group, the Safer Vacation Rentals, for more of the same. You can also join our email list at www.safervrs.com.